Hello, welcome to the course SJPHY3BO3 Electrodynamics 1. The contents of this course is taken from Introduction to Electrodynamics by David J. Griffiths. In today's class, we will continue to discuss topics from Chapter 1, Vector Analysis. In the last class, we discussed about line integrals and surface integrals. Today, let's learn about volume integrals. Volume integral of a scalar function t is defined as integral t d tau, where d tau is an infinitesimal volume element. In Cartesian coordinate system, you can define d tau as dx, dy, dz. You will encounter volume integrals quite often in physics, usually in association with densities. If you take normal density and calculate the volume integral of that, it gives you the mass. Similarly, in electrostatics, you will deal with charge densities. So if you take charge density in a volume, multiply it with the volume element d tau, this gives you charge inside this small volume element. If you take the volume integral of that, it gives you the total charge in a given space. So once you calculate the total charge, you can determine the field associated with this charge at a distance r. This is given by the Coulomb's law, 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square. Though volume integrals are usually defined for scalar function, you can also define it for vector function. So here you can expand the vector function v in the component form. So the volume integral becomes integral vx d tau x cap plus integral vy d tau y cap plus integral vz d tau z cap. Let's do a quick problem. Calculate the volume integral of the scalar function t equal to xyz square over the prism shown in the figure. So let's first find out the range of values for xyz coordinates. Z varies from the origin 0 to 3. Y varies from 0 to 1. And when it comes to x, there is an inherent relation between x and y, right? So if you look at this point, the coordinates are 0 and 1. Here the coordinates are 1 and 0. So which means x plus y equal to 1, or you can write x equal to 1 minus y. So x is a dependent variable. So you can write x varies from 0 to 1 minus y. Now volume integral t dou tau, this is a triple integral with respect to z, integral with respect to y, integral with respect to x. So you can apply the limiting values here. Let's first do the x integration. So integral of x is x square by 2. Apply the limiting values. This becomes 1 minus y whole square divided by 2. So the 1 by 2 factor you can take outside the integral. Now you have a y integral and the z integral. So do the y integral first, and this is completely independent of the z integral. So after this you do the z integral, apply the limiting values, you get the final value as 3 by 8. So you can work out the steps on your own. Next is the fundamental theorem of calculus. The fundamental theorem states that integral a to b df by dx into dx, this is equal to f of b minus f of a. Now df by dx into dx, so you can assume that dx cancel, so this is nothing but df. So you have a function f of x. So when x changes by a small amount dx, what is the corresponding change in the function? So this is given by df. Now we are taking its integral from a to b. So this is the total change in the function, which is given by f of b minus f of a. So you can get a pictorial representation here. So you have a graph of f of x which changes from a to b. The range you can divide into a number of small subintervals, each with a width dx. So inside this interval, the corresponding change in the function, this is given by df. So you calculate the change in the function for first interval, then for second interval. Similarly, for each interval you calculate the corresponding change in function, and you take the sum of all these changes. This gives you the total change in the function, which is nothing but a final value f of b minus the initial value f of a. So the fundamental theorem states that the integral of a derivative over some region is given by the value of the function at the endpoints or the boundaries. In vector calculus, we learned about three types of derivatives: the gradient, the divergence, and the curl. So you can define the fundamental theorem for each of these. Let's first look into fundamental theorem for gradient. Suppose you have a scalar function t, so it changes from initial point A to the final point B. Now if you take the starting point A, now take an infinitesimal displacement dl1, so you move to the next point. Now at this point you take the product of a gradient of t and the displacement dl1. So if you recollect the definition of gradient, grad t dot dl1, this gives you the change in the function dt. In fact, gradient of t gives you the fastest change in the function. So you calculate change in the function for the first interval. Now you go to the second interval and repeat the procedure. Take gradient of t at the starting point, calculate the displacement to the next point. The dot product of these two gives you the change in the function for the second interval. So you keep repeating this and find the sum of each of these changes. Now if you have a large number of summation, you can replace it with the integral. So in this case we are talking about a function which is changing along a given line. So you can define a line integral. So line integral gradient of t dot dl, this is equal to t of b, the final value, minus t of a, the initial value. So once again, integral of a derivative, here derivative is a gradient over a region is from a to b, is equal to value of the function at the boundary. Now you can infer two important points here, which I wrote it here as corollaries 1 and 2. First thing, the line integral depends only at the endpoints, right? It is independent of the path. So integral a to b gradient of t dot dl is independent of the path taken from a to b. Consequently, if you have a closed path, the initial point A is same as the final point B. You can write t of B equal to t of A. So the RHS becomes 0. So closed integral gradient t dot dl equal to 0. Let's do an example problem. Consider a scalar function t equal to xy square. The initial point A is at the origin and the final point B is at the coordinate 2, 1, 0. You need to check the fundamental theorem for gradients for this configuration. So this is the starting point A at the origin. This is the end point B. Even though the line integral is independent of path, for the sake of computation, we need to assume a specific path. So let's assume that we move from the starting point to this point and from this point to the final point. So this horizontal segment is 1, the vertical segment is 2. So your path is 1 plus 2. And for this path we need to compute the line integral and show that this is equal to the value of the function at the final point minus value of the function at the initial point. Now the displacement vector in Cartesian coordinate system, you can write the general expression as dx x cap plus dy y cap plus dz z cap. Since we are talking about xy plane, you don't have to bother about the z component. Similarly, gradient of t, this is dou t by dou x x cap plus dou t by dou y y cap plus dou t by dou z z cap. So if you substitute for t, you will get gradient of t equal to y square x cap plus 2xy y cap. Let's first calculate line integral for the segment 1. So here movement is only along the x direction and the y value equal to 0. Since you have motion only along the x direction, the displacement dl equal to dx x cap. Now you can find out gradient of t dot dl. Essentially you have only the x component, so this is y square dx. Since y equal to 0, this is 0. Since the value is 0, if you take the line integral, that is also going to be 0. Now for the vertical segment, as you can make out, there is motion only along the y direction. The value of x is constant, x equal to 2. Since there is motion only along the y direction, the displacement vector dvl will have only the y component, dy y cap. Now gradient of t dot dl, now this is 2xy dy, x equal to 2, so this becomes 4y dy. Now you need to calculate the line integral of this function, and the limiting values are from y equal to 0 to y equal to 1. If you compute this integral, this is equal to 2. So the total line integral is line integral over path 1, that is 0, plus line integral over path 2, that is 2. So the total value equal to 2. Now what is the value of t of b minus t of a? So at point b, x equal to 2, y equal to 1. So t of b equal to 2. At point a, x equal to 0, y equal to 0. So t equal to 0. So 2 minus 0 equal to 2. So line integral is nothing but t of b minus t of a. So the fundamental theorem of gradient is true in this case. Let's move on to the fundamental theorem for divergence, which states that divergence of a vector function v. So if you take volume integral of divergence of a vector function, this is nothing but surface integral of the vector function. So mathematically, volume integral divergence of v d tau equal to closed surface integral v dot dA. What's the physical meaning of this? The integral of a derivative, here derivative is the divergence over a region is volume v, is equal to the value of the function at the boundary. Remember, for a volume, the boundary is the boundary surface. So we are considering a boundary surface S that encompasses the volume V. Now this theorem is known as Gauss theorem. It's also called Green's theorem or a divergence theorem. The Gauss theorem is the most popular name for this. Now what is the actual meaning of the Gauss theorem? You can assume a scenario. You have a volume filled with some incompressible fluid. Now you want to calculate what is the total amount of fluid present. There are two ways you can do this. Now assume that this entire volume is filled with small faucets or water taps. So each water tap contains some water. So the total amount of water is water in the first tap plus water in the second tap all the way to water in the final tap. This is nothing but the volume integral of faucets within the given region. You can also calculate the total amount of water by looking at the flow of water from each of these taps through the boundary surface. So you go to each boundary. Suppose you go to this boundary. At each point you calculate what is the flow of water through this boundary. So you calculate water flow at first point, second point, all the way to the final point. Now you do this for all the boundary surfaces. That also gives you the total amount of the liquid present. So this is nothing but closed surface integral of flow out through the boundary surface. So in both cases the value remains the same. That's why we say the volume integral of divergence of a given function is equal to the closed surface integral of the function itself. So this is the fundamental theorem of divergence. Let's mathematically check whether this theorem is correct. So take a representative function v equal to y square x cap plus 2xy plus z square y cap plus 2yz z cap. And for a unit cube given in this diagram, let's check whether the fundamental theorem of divergence is true. Let's compute the left hand side first, volume integral divergence of v d tau. Since this is v, divergence of v equal to 2x plus 1. Calculate the volume integral. Since this is a unit cube, the limiting value for x, y, z are 0 to 1. And the volume element d tau is dx, dy, dz. So the volume integral you can write in the component form and calculate each of these integrals. So let's first calculate the x integral. So integral 0 to 1 x plus y dx. So integral of x is x square by 2. Integral of dxy is xy. You apply the limiting values. This becomes half plus y. Now substitute the value here. Then do the integral of the y component. So this is 0 to 1 half plus y dy. It's equal to 1. Substitute the value here, then finally calculate the z integral. So this becomes 1. So the total volume integral is 2 multiplied 1, which is 2. Now you have to calculate the surface integral. In total you have 6 boundary surfaces. So you have to compute 6 surface integrals. Let's take the boundary surface 1. So look at the direction of this surface. It points in the plus x direction. So let's calculate surface integral v dot dA. Now this surface is in the yz plane. So the area element dA is dy dz. And the direction is along the x direction. So this is dy dz x cap. Now we have to take its dot product with the vector v. Since area element has only the x direction, you will take dot product of only the x component. So this is y square dy dz. Apply the limits. Lower limit is 0, upper limit is 1 for both the direction. And if you compute this, you get the value 1 by 3. Similarly, do for the second surface, and the second surface is exactly similar to first surface, just that the direction is in the minus x direction. So you follow the same procedure, you get the same integral. Instead of a plus sign, you have a minus sign here. So the value of the integral is minus 1 by 3. Same way you can calculate the surface integral for the third surface. Its value is 4 by 3. Fourth surface minus 1 by 3. Fifth surface plus 1. Sixth surface 0. The total value is 2. So the volume integral of divergence is exactly same as the closed surface integral of the function. So once again we have shown that the integral of the derivative over a given region depends on value of the function at the boundaries. In the next class we will talk about the fundamental theorem of curl. Thank you.